Before I start, tell me which country you're watching from. I love seeing where everyone tunes in from. Now, imagine this. You buy back the home you grew up in, the same tree you climbed as a kid, the same porch your dad built with his bare hands. You pour your heart and savings into restoring it, only for an HOA that doesn't even own your street to demand you join them? Or else. Yeah, that's what happened to me. And let's just say they picked the wrong man to push around. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this because this is a wild ride. When I bought my childhood home back, it felt like closing a perfect circle. The place had been empty for years, weathered and forgotten, just like so many old homes in the outskirts of town. It sat right outside the neatly trimmed lawns and overly regulated community run by the Lakeside Meadows HOA, a group that took themselves far too seriously. My property had never been part of their jurisdiction. It was built long before their association even existed, but they had slowly extended their reach, swallowing up land around mine, claiming authority over new roads and neighborhoods. My home stood as the last independent property in that area, the one place they couldn't control. When I moved back in, I was focused on restoring it the way it used to be. I rebuilt the wooden porch, fixed the old windmill out back, and even restored my dad's rusted mailbox. The place looked like a small piece of history surrounded by sterile modern homes. It drew attention, the kind of attention HOA Karens can't ignore. It started small. Notes left on my fence. Your paint color doesn't match community guidelines. Your mailbox design isn't approved. I ignored them at first, knowing full well they had no authority over me. But soon the tone shifted. A letter arrived stamped with the HOA's official logo, claiming my home fell under their extended maintenance zone. They demanded I apply for membership and pay annual fees. That's when I laughed for the first time. I went through county records, double-checked every map, and confirmed what I already knew. My property has and has never been part of the HOA. My deed proved it. I was free. But freedom is something HOA Karens can't stand. A week later, a woman named Denise, the self-proclaimed HOA president, marched up my driveway with two board members. They didn't bother to introduce themselves. They stood there holding clipboards and announced they were performing an inspection. I told them plainly that they were trespassing, but they didn't care. They scribbled notes, took photos, and promised I'd hear from legal. True to her word, I did. Another letter arrived threatening property compliance action. It was filled with legal jargon, but carried no real authority. It was intimidation. Nothing more. So I decided to respond in the one way HOAs hate most, with paperwork. I filed a notice with the county clerk affirming my property's exclusion from any homeowners association. I also posted a sign at my gate reading, "Private property, not under HOA authority." I thought that would end it. I was wrong. 2 days later, I came home to find bright orange violation notices plastered all over my front door and fence. Unauthorized landscaping, unapproved structure, non-compliant lighting fixtures. It was absurd. But the kicker was the fine list they mailed next, over $4,000 in penalties for repeated non-compliance. They were trying to bully me into joining. So I called a lawyer, not to fight them directly, but to verify a few things. Turns out, the HOA had been claiming community expansion rights under a clause that didn't even exist in their charter. They were bluffing. Worst yet, they had illegally extended their maintenance records to include my address, falsifying documents to make it look like I'd been part of their community for years. That was all I needed. I compiled everything, the fake fines, the illegal photos, and their trespassing notes, and filed a complaint with the county zoning board. Then I sent a copy of the entire file to the local news station. Within a week, a segment ran titled, "HOA Accused of Overreach Against Private Homeowner." The story went viral. Neighbors who'd suffered under their endless rules started speaking out. Turns out Denise had fined people for things as petty as leaving garden hoses out or having curtains that clashed with the neighborhood's aesthetic. The county launched an investigation, and when the inspectors came, Denise and her board tried to argue that my property benefited from their services, like snow removal and landscaping. The county official just looked at her and asked why those services stopped at my fence line. She didn't have an answer. The fallout was swift. The HOA was fined thousands for falsifying documents and violating privacy laws. Their attempt to expand was permanently revoked. And Denise, well, she was forced to step down after residents voted her to remove her entirely. But I wasn't done. With the attention the story got, I was able to start a small campaign called Restore Without Rules, encouraging other homeowners to reclaim old properties and keep them HOA-free. Within months, I saw a handful of new restorations popping up nearby, each proudly displaying the same sign I had on my fence, not under HOA authority. Today, my childhood home stands exactly as it should, full of life, character, and freedom. The windmill turns again, the porch creaks just right, and the garden blooms the way my mother planted it decades ago. And every time I see one of those HOA board members drive by, slowing down to glare through their tinted windows, I just smile. Because they tried to control me, but in the end, I reminded them not every home belongs to their little kingdom. So, that's how I handled an HOA that tried to force me to join what I never belonged to. If you ever face something similar, remember, knowledge is your best weapon. Know your rights and don't let anyone bully you into submission. Tell me in the comments which country you're watching this from. I love hearing where my viewers are tuning in from. And don't forget to like and subscribe and stick around for more crazy HOA and Karen revenge stories. You won't believe what's coming next.